him a framework. I gave him top-level information about this topic, and I said to him, make me a presentation that will be catching, engaging, and functional. And he presented this, I reviewed it, and I approved it. And within 24 hours, we were done. I'm a very busy man normally, so he did that for me. That is leadership. And that is what we must begin to learn in the workplace. It is not every time that you carry screwdriver and carry meter. It is not wrong, it is not bad that we carry screwdriver and carry meter. I carried it for more than 20 years. I was a field man, hands-on. The 2 wristwatches I wear today is as a result of my field work. I'll tell you the story some other time, not today. Now it is just fashion. Then it had its proper function, and it's the origin is from automation. I'll tell the story another time. Okay, my presenter isn't moving anymore. All right. So, how do you structure teams for innovation? Innovation, of course, it is a structural outcome. Innovation is what you get from critical thinking. When you see a gap that you want to close, you think about something, you create something in your head, and then you implement it. When it comes out, it becomes an outcome of that your thinking. Usually, this thinking is done by just you alone in your bedroom. So innovation is not about brainstorming harder. No. It is about structuring smarter. It's about being smart, to create solutions that will be acceptable, not only to you, but to the market. Teams innovate where the conditions exist. When the conditions exist, in the example I just gave, if I did not make the conditions available for Tosin to be able to prepare this presentation, I will not be able to have this presentation. And I can bet you, I will never have had the time to make this presentation. I would never have had the time. And I probably may not have even come for this occasion, because of this. So diversity of thought is very important. Delphi technique. You need to engage everybody. No idea is stupid. Diversity of thought. Psychology. Psychological safety, meaning that you give them safety in the space that you are using them. Meaning that even if they make a suggestion that looks blatantly stupid, you make them happy with the suggestion that they have made, because they could have as well kept their mouth shut. You give them autonomy, which is the most important part here, to allow people to grow the way that they want to grow, to express themselves in the ways that they want to express themselves. Now, there is this Google's project, Aristotle. It proved these 3 concepts. The highest performing teams weren't the smartest, they were the safest. Now, what this means, and I'm sure many of you can relate to this, the best performing people or in the workplace are not always the people who had first class in school. I'm sure many of you have seen this. The best performing people, the best performing doctors, the best performing engineers are not usually those who had 4.9, 0.8, 4.7. In the workplace, that is not important anymore. Once you have been employed, whether the guy had 2.7 and you had 4.8, it's about value now, how much value you can create. And research and time has shown that those who are average performers, because they know that they are average performers, they will need more time to learn slowly and rev up. They are more dedicated to whatever they do. They pay more attention than the very brilliant guys. The very brilliant guys are usually deceived by their intelligence. They always come in at the 11th hour. Don't worry, it's Mickey Mouse. I can always overcome it. And that is why they don't always succeed in the workplace. I have seen many of them. I have hundreds of mentees. First class, 2-1, 2-2, third class. And some of these people are doing very well. Now let's connect this to Africa, all that we are talking about. MTN Nigeria. I'm sure all of you know MTN Nigeria. Virtually all of us here use MTN lines. MTN is a company that in the last 2 years, they posted losses, heavy losses because of the economic reforms going on. And it's not just MBC, it's not just MTN. Virtually every company, including ours, we posted losses, you know. But MTN is a great example of a company that has come out of that troubling water into posting nearly 1 trillion before the end of this year. They have already posted gross profit of nearly 1 trillion naira. And many more companies like that, including ours, we are making profit that we did not make last year or the year prior. In 2023, it was loss, complete. It was minus. Everything was minus. But we were able to evolve and we are still surviving. So MTN Nigeria, innovation in mobile finance didn't just happen, it was designed. Leaders created, MTN business leaders now, created cross-functional innovation cells that blended telecoms engineers, marketers, and digital strategies. Now, I want to talk about these marketers here. As engineers, a lot of us think that sales and marketing or supply chain is not our field. You are wrong. You are very wrong. When you get into the field, you will soon discover that for you to really grow, for example, if you get into anything in systems, it's not about emotions. It is about creating systems that will outlive you. And the systems that you create may not be physical items like this or like this. It may even be documentation that you will use to run a process. That is system thinking, design thinking. Engineers ask, who are we serving? What are their needs? How do we make this scalable and human-centered? One of the speakers in the morning mentioned Industry 5.0. And he mentioned that they are now trying to bring the human back into everything that we have done, that we are doing. Because in 3 and 4, we took out the human, and we have seen the effect of taking out human. So gradually, they want to bring back, they want to maintain and sustain what is in Industry 4.0, but we want to create more responsibilities for the human in Industry 5. Leaders should ask the same questions of their organization. Design thinking, when applied to leadership, turns management from command and control to empathy and architecture. Command and control, that is like military rule. You give an order, it is implemented without complaints. It is management, pure management. Pure management. But in the world of today, we're not saying that management is bad, but we are saying that leadership is better. So no company, for example, employs anybody to be a leader. No company employs you to be a leader. No. They employ you to be a manager. And manager simply means that you use certain group of resources to create value for the business. That is what every company wants you to do. They want you to create value, make profit for them. They don't want you to come and be speaking beautiful English about leadership, be empathetic, be sympathetic, but it does not bring money. Every business wants to make money. So they will first of all employ you to be a manager. Then, when you are in and you are implementing your work, you can now apply leadership to make your management work even better. The framework for leadership by design is threefold. Purpose of the design, it has to be clear. So even as an automation engineer, if you want to create a solution for your business, even if it's just an upgrade, you must create like a project charter. Within it, you must have purpose of the design. Why am I doing this? Why is this important? You may understand it, but you need to make every stakeholder understand why you are doing this. People design, assembling and empowering diverse, in project management we call them cross-functional teams. You must assemble the right persons with different skills. Process design, creating systems that translate ideas into execution. So you must be able to have the capability to create systems that can convert ideas. Because ultimately, whatever you do in the background is not important. Ultimately, it is the outcome, what the people, stakeholders, get to see and use. That is what is important. Every now and then, WhatsApp will send you a patch for update. They will tell you, we are updating your software from 1.0 to 2.0. It may have taken them 1 year behind the scene to prepare that update. You will not know. And you are not interested in all the technical work that goes into that update patch. It is the version 2.0 and how it conforms to your requirement that will make you determine that Samsung is good or it is not good. When you integrate all three, innovation and growth become predictable, very easy. When you manage projects of any kind, be it automation or civil, architectural projects, when you integrate these things, it becomes extremely easy for you to execute your project and predict the outcome that you will get. As you progress, you can easily tell if you are going the right way or you are not going the right way. Innovation is a structural outcome. No, okay. McKinsey's 7S framework, it may look like theory, but it's a good way to understand how many of these businesses are created and transformed. So McKinsey has 7S framework for execution of designs. And the 7 S's are strategy, structure, systems, shared values, skills, style, and staff. Now, the first 4 are leadership responsibilities. They are not for you. The next 3 is skills required, the style for managing the team, and the composition of your team is entirely at the level of the people who are at tactical or operational levels. But the first 4 are strictly strategic. They are strategic, and they are for senior men. All those people who drive black Prado with driver and escort. You see them in your companies. They have something here, a lot here. So do not think that they're paying them too much. And we that are doing the work, they're not paying us as much. They have paid their dues. Pay your dues first. You will drive Prado. If your strategy says be agile, by all means, be agile. Agility simply means that you do things in small bits, concentrated, but in small bits. It's like Kaizen, in continuous improvement. You want to eat. You cannot eat an elephant whole. It's too big. You will eat it in bits. That is agility. That is Kaizen. So if you want to be agile, by all means, do not include too much bureaucracy. Too much bureaucracy. It will make work cumbersome and you will never be able to deliver your results. At Dangote Group, this is another Nigerian company example, execution improved dramatically when they decentralized decision-making within project clusters. Leaders didn't just change the strategy, they redesigned the structure. Now, of course, we all know Dangote Group. It was initially a one-man business, and a lot of the decisions came from that family. But as the business was growing, they soon discovered that they cannot do it alone. Of course, they cannot do it alone because they don't even have the capabilities, as it were. They don't have the technical capabilities. You know, the man himself does not have technical capabilities. He has the business acumen and he has the money. So he had to decentralize decision making. He had to depend on people who have the technical capabilities to advise so that the business can be able to scale and grow. So it's a good example. This is where design thinking meets leadership. That is leadership by design and design thinking. Design thinking simply follows 5 steps: empathize, define, ideate, prototype, and test. I will not bore you with the technicalities of all of this, but you should just understand that when you do design thinking, 5 steps, even if you don't know, you will go through these 5 steps of empathizing, defining, ideating, prototyping, and testing. Now, a reflection point: innovation by design. Think about your team, wherever you're coming from. Even if you're a student, think about your class and your classmates. Are the structures designed to invite innovation or to inspect after it happens? In the workplace, a lot of workplaces do not have systems designed to help innovation. But you can ask yourself, if your answer to this question is such that your system is not designed to allow innovation, after today, you can do something in your little rank, your little position. You can do something to create change. Many years ago, when I was a small engineer in NBC, I was employed into NBC at a time that NBC was very reactive. We were at work before 7 o'clock. If you close, but that is what it is. And I swore, since I was a small engineer, that I am sure that work cannot be like this, and I don't want to work like this. I started creating change as a small engineer, shift engineer. I started creating change, and it was showing. All right. Leaders often ask, how do I get my people to execute? Now, we have said that leaders need to allow their people execute with innovation, but the question is how? Do you get your people to execute? My answer will usually be, don't manage the execution, you design it. And a clear case example is the one I have just given to you. I did not manage the execution, I designed it. I was not even in Lagos. I was not in the office. I called him up and I spoke with him, middle of the night, late night, after I spoken with Adeola, the convener. I called him and I told him what I wanted. And I said, don't embarrass me. The man that is bringing me on stage is my Oga. He's my Oga. Do not embarrass me before my Oga. Please deliver something that will be foolproof. He asked me a few questions and I gave it to him. He executed. I designed, he executed. And this is what you are seeing today, including the color mix, paparazzi. It is part of the work, making it look attractive. Making it look attractive. Design your teams to execute autonomously within alignment. Very important, within alignment. Just as we do in automation, you don't program an equipment and you leave it to work anyhow. There are limits that you put in the program for the equipment. There are limits you put. It cannot go beyond this. It cannot go beyond this. So that is it. Within alignment. Give clarity on outcomes, not instructions on the activities. Be very clear on the goal. Let them understand what you ultimately want and they will deliver. If they're not able to deliver, you need to work on them to help them understand better and be able to use their brain juice better. But by all means, allow your people to use their heads as much as possible. Good. Growth by design, beyond scaling. Growth isn't just doing more, it's becoming about more capable. While I was being introduced, You saw there that my last position in NBC was head of manufacturing capability. Now, capability development is what I do now because it has always been a passion for me. I finished from ABU. I was born and bred in ABU. I was born into education. I was a lecturer in my department. I was a scholar, and I was offered automatic employment. But somehow, one of my cousins deceived me. When I was doing registration as graduate assistant, he deceived me to come to Lagos to come and do aptitude test and interview for NBC graduate trainee. August 1995, I left Zaria and I came to Lagos. I never returned. And I'm very grateful that I never returned because the industry experience that I have today, I would never have gotten it in the university. It is not there. It is not there. I have many of my colleagues who are professors today. The industry experience I have today, they will never get it. They will never be able to get it. And that is the real value. Now, when James was presenting experience that delivers value, my time is up. I can see the man behind me. He's hounding me. I can feel him breathing on my ear. But don't worry, I'll be here now. That is the end. In conclusion, if you left this room and redesigned just one element of your leadership architecture, your team structure, your decision rhythm, your innovation process, what impact could that have in 6 months? It's a question, it's not a question for everybody, literally, but for those who are middle management and senior management in this room, they will be able to align with this more. If you change something now from what you have learned, what do you think the result will be in 6 months? Let me close with this thought. Building begins with a blueprint. You must have a design. Every symphony begins with a score. Innovation begins with leaders who design intentionally. Innovation, execution, and growth are not random events. They are outcomes of leadership architecture. So, as you live here today, your most important project isn't your product. It is, or your strategy. It is your team, your people.
Thank you so much, sir. Please, Ma, you have to come up here quickly also. So, quickly, we'll be diving into a quick question and answer session, 15 minutes. I'll be calling on Hope. Sorry, 15 minutes, 1 and 5, 15 minutes. Yeah, so Hope will come up, please. All right. Sorry, there is a mix-up somewhere. So Adiola is supposed to come up first. I'm sorry about that. It was an oversight. So please, so we read his profile already, and we all know he's the convener. So please, let's jam our hands together as we welcome him. So when he starts talking, one other thing I want you to all to look at is this tease. There's this, I don't know.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Please, the media, do we need external mic? It's on.
Okay, I guess it's not going to work today. Hello, good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, everyone. You know, when they put you after your grandfather have spoken, you know it's a setup, right? Thank you very much, Malam, for coming here today. It's really an. I went on LinkedIn and decided to do a research. So During that period, I decided to check engineering managers, maintenance managers, um, top guys, right, in engineering, to check what they did at the period of their transition. Some of them masters. So the ones that did masters, I checked which school. Some of them MBAs, like that. Then I saw some certification, and that was the first time I was going to find my way to connect to Malam. I think we should go. All right. Okay, so it's how to transition from being an engineer to become a business leader. It is very, very important, especially if you are just starting out, to have an end in mind. I've seen in various organizations that you grow in automation, and then there's a stage you get to, and then you can't go higher more than that. Right? And then I've also seen people that have grown in organization as automation engineers, automation manager, and then pivoted, and now they are business leaders. So what is the difference between this guy, able to become, the goal eventually is that you are able to take this, your analytical mind that you have gained as an automation engineer. Do you understand? It's all about the mindset. Why are they different? This guy focus on how it works. This guy focus on why and who does what. Right? This guy just wants to, is a technical guy. Automation is very interesting, but I'm saying that as much as we are saying that people should put attention into learning skills, learning tools, and all this stuff, that should not be the end. You should look forward to a time where you're able to mentor and grow people also. You should look forward to a time where you're able to make decisions as an engineer that propels your organization forward and make them make profits. Right? You think in tools, you think in goals, and then they're thinking of solving business problems, while this guy is talking of technical problems. Now, there's also a way you can solve technical problem, and then you understand the business perspective of the technical problem you're solving. Okay. Interesting. Okay. Now, once again, what's the difference between these two guys? This guy would say, I just want to fix the machine. But the other guy is thinking of value that is going to add to the organization. Now, when the both of them are talking, right, to the business. Now, the interesting thing is that the other person that have the other mindset might not be even half as good as this guy. He's the star boy. Whenever there's a problem, the line cannot run without him. But this other guy understands the business perspective of what he's doing. And then the way he will present it part time to the management, the business will see him and say, this is a potential leader, a potential manager. And then they start putting him towards that pedestal of growth. While the other guy, what will happen to him? He remains at that level of being a technician. So he must be able to think and understand what I am fixing. How does it add up to Naira and Kobo? Do you understand? Okay. All right. I think the presentation is weapon fashion against me for this afternoon. All right, so now, you have to grow from just asking how to what for. Now, it is important, and I'm going to stress it all over and over again. As much as you are reading about how to develop programs, how to write programs, how to troubleshoot, how to do all these things, start reading about leadership also. Understand it. Understand how business works as well. Right? Don't just think about the technical problem. Start thinking about how does this thing affect operation? How can what I am doing, you fix this problem, right? It is recurring. I'll give you an example. You have this guy, there's a problem with your electric motor, with your HMI. It is stalling the work of the operators because it has so many steps. Now you want to redesign it and upgrade the system. What happens is you go to this and say, this thing is affecting the operator, it's not a fine system. You're thinking technical, right? It is old version, you're thinking technical. The business is like, is it working? Why do I have to spend money on that? But you go to them and say, the operator spends 30 minutes in carrying out this operation, right? If you redesign this, the operator is going to spend 10 minutes in achieving this. If he's spending 10 minutes, the 20 minutes you've lost in terms of value of throughput, output of our products is X thousands of products. That times, let's say 500, is X millions of naira. Do you think any management is going to say no to that? And the HMI is just, let's say, 5 or 6 million naira. Yes. What you've done is that you've communicated here, and then you've been able to communicate perfectly in a way that they will understand. Do you understand? Now, the mind that you have is your advantage. Actually, is your unfair advantage. Because by the time I've sat in rooms where we are making business decisions, I've sat in rooms where we are making strategic decisions, I've sat in rooms where it's meant for senior management alone, right? It's supposed to be meant for senior management alone. But because of the way my mind works, which is connected to the fact that I've learned PLC programming, I've done, when you're troubleshooting, right? I mean, not like I've been in leadership all my life. I've had to also be in a situation where you are working on a project and then things go south and then you cannot sit, you cannot eat, you cannot have break until you are done. Because you just need to get done. The customer is breathing heavily beside you saying, when are you going to get my line up? Right? And then, because the way your mind is working at that time, I mean, if you've had to troubleshoot, you know how it works. You are calculating like 1 million possibilities at a time. Now, translate that into business. So that means when the business is considering an action, you can analyze it with such precision and with such diversity that by the time you are bringing the options to the table, there's nobody that can ignore you. That's just it. You built your mind, first of all, by building skills and capabilities in everything that has been said so far today, while keeping in view that the end is not just to be someone that goes to site, someone that is just programming and all, but someone that will become a business leader. Okay. So, navigating from leadership that's code to coach. Right, you are going to be going from language of PLC and VFDs to profit and loss and return on investment. So you are not just talking about technical terms alone, right? You are talking about things that relates to Naira and Kobo. You are not just talking about airport, you are talking about team empathy. So you become someone that, a team that is failing before, you become part of the team, and then they are seeing how you are imparting the team, even though you are not the one heading the team. Right? But then you can coordinate the team that the business just make this guy the leader because he's doing a fantastic job. Right? You are going from if then to what if. I can see Ogunsi is looking at me right there. So leadership in action. Bridge the gap. Be the one that when the finance team, right, is having conversation and the MD is there and then the marketing guy is there, be the one that can translate the technical jargons into what they can understand. Right? Be the one that is the bridge. When you become the bridge, you're already a leader, apparently. Right? Delegate. Now, one of that trap of automation engineers is that you're a star boy. I know, see, at a point in your life, you must be a star boy. Right? If you're going to grow. But then it gets to a point that you should not be the star boy again. You must now have star boys that you've developed and given the opportunity to grow. Do you understand? For some of us, it might not happen in the next 1-2 years, but it's something that you must have at the back of your mind, right? Okay, so why engineers make the best leaders? We understand systems, as I've said. We solve quickly. We work under pressure, definitely, right? We learn fast. We think in logic. Does that mean? When engineers take leadership, they become unbeatable. And remember, you don't need a title to become a leader. What you need is initiative. It's not about the title, really. You don't have to have the role. Okay. I'll just rush through. Now, Acts. Now, let me talk about entrepreneurship, which is also very, very important. If you are going to succeed in business, right, if you're going to really grow, it is you taking ownership of whatever you are doing. You are running your role as though you are the owner of the business. That is entrepreneurship. Right? You are not just doing, what's it called? What I am assigned to do. There's no way you can grow in any field or whatever you are doing if all you are doing is all that is assigned to you. That is all in your JD. No. It is not possible. Like it is impossible for you to get a first class if you don't put extra effort. So the only thing that makes you grow in organizations and in businesses is that you do beyond what you have been assigned to do. Right? You go far above and beyond. When you are done doing your own job, you ask your manager, what are the things that you are doing that I can help you with? So you start doing it. Right? You are helping him. What you are doing that you are learning his job. When it's time for him to grow, who do you think is going to recommend? You have understood the job. Literally, you have been on assisting him to get the job done. Next slide, please. So, I've already touched on this, how you communicate what you are doing. You know, yes, take your career as your project. It's a long-term project. Sit down, I think so. It was, I think, Engineer Dakoda mentioned it. You should have a plan, right? Yes, that's what he's talking about. Next slide, please. Okay. Your career journey from being a technician to being a techpreneur. You should see yourself beyond just where you are right now. And it's not every one of us that is going to start an organization. Some of us will, right? But maybe not all of us. But then, I need you to understand that one of the highest paying CEOs or MD in Nigeria right now is in billions, if I'm correct, per annum. It's not. You don't have to be. You can be on 9 to 5 in quotes and then be okay. You don't, not everybody here is going to start a business. If you have the drive, definitely yes, right? But then, what I'm saying is that you should see yourself grow to a point in your organization where you can, let's say your organization is in Oguns, right? You start from where you are, analyze what you are doing, make a plan, and then start working towards it. I think the last slide, yes. Thank you very much. On a last note, I would like to say this. Don't take your career casually. Don't limit yourself by saying, I'm an engineer, I'm just going to be a super engineer, and I'm going to be that. What you are going to acquire along the journey, the skills, the knowledge, the mindset, they are going to acquire. It's going to help the world. Nigeria needs it. We need your kind of thinking, which you would have developed while you are growing as an engineer. Once you grow to a point, start aspiring even to be more. Thank you very much.
All right.
So this is
All right. Thank you very much. So I wanted to say something, not add. It's not in my position to add, but I just wanted to say this, that he mentioned something as regards automation engineers working in. Okay, let me just say this way. In the manufacturing industry, as an automation engineer, there's what we call SEMO. and then we call it semo, and sometimes we call it semo mixed with okra. That's when the problem has gone beyond control. Now you have to figure whatever ways, whatever you need to do to get that machine running, you have to do it. Now on our also, I just wanted to include that on our bid or on our way growing to becoming leaders. There's what is called trust triangle, which we can
Look at the person by your side and say something nice to the person.
Somebody said something nice.
Please, can you look at the person on your side and say, hope you're enjoying this event? And what did they say? All right. Good afternoon once again, everyone. So we'll be having a wonderful session this afternoon. I have great and wonderful moderators. Great and wonderful veterans in the industries who are going to be talking about the intersection about automation, leadership, engineering, and innovation. So this session is going to bring together great minds where we're going to be exploring how we can transit into leadership, how we can build business strategies, organizational reformation in the area of automation. So I'll be asking my panelists questions regarding this topic, and I'll start with Mr. Malam Ibrahim Lawan, so engineer. Okay, Malam Ibrahim Lawan, thank you very much for that. Yes, sir. All right, so we have many young automation engineers in Nigeria, and they are very technically competent, but often find it very difficult to move beyond the operational level into leadership or management role. From your own experience, what's your practical steps and mindsets shifts are needed for engineers who want to grow into business leadership to be able to carry out leadership roles?
Okay. It's a beautiful question, and when I started my career, it's a question that I was asking myself and asking everybody around me. And you will not believe it, I could not get anybody of skill. So I am not talking about coaching. I'm talking about mentorship. Mentorship simply means that a big man like Deola, you can latch onto him and you can ask him all the questions. He can guide you. He can share his experience so that you can have some direction. And I believe that one of management, if you go through this and understand this, it can help to quickly align your thoughts, and then you know which direction you want to take. Once you have chosen a path that you want to go, then you can engage your mentor even more in that particular path. If your mentor, your current mentor, does not have the skill and experience in that particular path, you look for some other mentor in that path. If you want to go into automation and you're convinced, you have made that decision that you want to go into automation, you speak to all the great speakers of today, Franklin, Dapo, Belema, James, Adeola. Don't speak to me. I'm no more an automation engineer. I have left it since 2010 when I became senior management. Though, like they say,